This is the Switch Up Game Enhancer from a company called Creative Minds. This is a Bluetooth controller adapter allowing you to use first-party controllers from almost any of the recent controllers on your Switch, or you could just plug them in with a wire using the controller that way instead of pairing the controllers via Bluetooth. The controller adapter isn't what makes this device special though for the Nintendo Switch. There are a lot of devices cheaper that do the same thing. What sets this device apart is the mods, macros on demand. These macro features are pre-programmed for a variety of games in the Nintendo Switch catalog. In this video, I'll be focusing on the Pokemon games because I only use it for Pokemon, and this is a Pokemon related channel. So don't ask me about the other games because honestly, I don't know. Now, before I go into how I've used this device in the past, let me tell you what this device is not. It is not a cheating device, an action replay, Game Shark, whatever you want it to be. It isn't going to give you automatically unlimited Master Balls or make all your encounters shiny Pokemon. If you're looking for that, you need to hack your Switch, which is something I don't do, so this isn't the video for you. But what I will tell you is how you can use this device on your Switch to maybe make your Pokemon experience a little bit better. Or at least that's how it used to be. Back when this thing came out in the Sword and Shield era, it was a must-have for me. This device helped me breed Pokemon for the VGC content you see here on the channel, saving me time of things that I would have to do in-game myself, like hatch all these eggs to make sure that I get the right ability and the right IVs, just keep rolling that RNG simulator button until I get the stats, the Pokemon that I want. I would put my breeding partner in the daycare with the right items and plug in the Switch Up and an old Xbox controller attached with a wire. Enter in the button combination for egg hatching and just walk away. Come back in a few hours and check what's hatched. I got the mon that I needed. Now I have a few boxes full of breed checks. But the Switch Up has a mass release setting where you just enter in a different button combination and it will release all the Pokemon in that box as long as you set it up properly by following the directions. Or you could even wonder trade all those same boxes away instead of throwing them away. You could even farm watts if you needed to buy more items or sell those items for money to get things that you needed in the game. All these things are done with your Pokemon in your game, and it's just basically playing the game for you. It's not modifying anything, saving you time to do the things that you need to do, like that laundry in the corner of your room. This is all done without modifying your Switch, your save game data, or the Pokemon in your game, which is how I prefer it, all for $25, which at the time was a must buy for me. I recommended this every single time. November 2022 came around and we saw the release of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl with a little bit of grassroots VGC scene building up around it. Also, the process of getting competitive Pokemon legitimately was a bit of a pain to say the least. In January of 2022, Collective Minds released an update for the Switch Up to work with BDSP. To the dismay of a lot of people, this update costed an additional $20 for people with the current Switch Up, or you could buy a new Switch Up with the upgrade included for $40. Now, I understand that a new feature adds more value, so I didn't complain about the upgrade price. I do think people at first were a little spoiled from phones and game systems and newer video games being updated for free automatically for the most part, but I thought if they're adding more features, they can charge more money. But when you look at the update process being really confusing and most of the features being buggy for Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, like the egg hatching feature sending back your egg hatching mon back to your PC box, completely screwing up the egg step counter and ruining the automation, I fully understood why people who did end up buying this upgrade felt a little jaded. Granted, they did fix a lot of those bugs in February, but with Pokemon Legends Arceus being the new shiny game and VGC live events coming back for Sword and Shield, basically killing off the BDSP scene, there weren't many people who cared or didn't just give up on the device already. So here we are, a year later, and Collective Minds have released an update adding features to Pokémon Scarlet and Violet. This update is included with the BDSP update, making it free for all those people who already bought the BDSP update. But is it worth it? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to update this device. Now, first off, when updating it, you will have to check out the website, and I do really recommend this because you can get the updater tool, and then you also can find a link for the BDSP update if you do not have that yet, and the manual. I cannot believe how many people have asked me questions that are quickly and simply answered in the manual. But I will admit that the updating process for the BDSP update was very confusing. It threw me off a little when first updating it, and you can find it here in the manual. So what you'll do is you'll click manual, it'll take you to the Collective Mind pages, and then you just click on these numbers and the manual will open up. Also here, you can find the update tools. So you can go here, and if you are upgrading or need to upgrade your switch up that has the BDSP update or needs the BDSP update, you will need the BDSP updater or upgrader. In the directions, they actually really clearly explain how to do it this time. So this is the BDSP update program. Let's zoom it in a little. So this is directly from the manual. It will tell you how to update your thing. If you bought one that comes with the code, it might already be registered as license activated, or you might have received the license in the email. If you bought the token from them, not through the upgrade portal, but through their website, you will have the upgrade code, the token emailed to you, and you're going to need that. So you'll download this and you'll plug your switch up into your device. And if you do not have it updated, as you can see here, for their example, they have the serial number and then serial not authorized. So this means that you either did not activate your code for the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl update yet, or you do not have it. You'll click on this link and it will give you the choice to either buy a license outright for $20 or to use a token if you already have one. So if you got your code in your email, you'll go through the token route. The reason why they do this is kind of confusing, but it basically attaches the token or the license you buy to the serial number of your switch up. That way you can't just plug in a bunch of switch ups and upgrade them all for $20. It's once you buy it, it becomes attached to this switch up. So this switch up will have the BDSP upgrade license, but if I buy another switch up, it won't. And it says that all in the instructions. Click on the banner, purchase it, and then it will upgrade your device. I do already have mine upgraded, so I'm not going to show you that, but I did want to explain that in the manual, the instructions are a lot better now for upgrading this thing, solving one of the problems that people had with the BDSP update in general. In the manual, we can actually also see that what we have offered for the Scarlet and Violet update. So the mode will be red and purple, which makes sense because Scarlet and Violet. How to activate the mods. So you get mass egg farming, which will involve you eating a sandwich. So basically what this explains is to set all your things to automatic, which this is unnecessary because the eggs automatically go to your PC box anyway. I would just make sure that you have your last box that you're on before you exit out of your PC box to be an empty box, so all the eggs go there. You can make this in the picnic. I wouldn't recommend doing it outside the picnic. And then they say to only have Pokemon in your breeding party, you know, the way that you would hatch eggs if you were doing it yourself. You start a picnic, you stand in front of the picnic basket, and then you hit the menu button, which is minus on Switch controllers, and then tap Y. To stop it, you tap minus. So it does warn you that it's only going to work well while the egg buff is in place, which is just like how you hatch eggs yourself. But this could, you know, save you a half an hour You can set it up, put on a half an hour timer, and then go do something, and then come back and see how many eggs you got out of it. There's the max egg hatch. You probably do need the give nicknames. They do recommend the flame body. You go to the lighthouse, you go to the top of the lighthouse, go close to the railing, open up the menu and navigate to a completely full box of eggs you wish to start on. Select the top left. So this only works for full boxes, and it looks like, I don't know if it goes back, if it will scroll over to the next box, because with like Wonder Trading and mass release, you used to be able to like navigate through any additional boxes. So you can do this with multiple boxes. So you could have 3 boxes full of eggs, and you can set it up so you have all 3 boxes ready to go. And the egg timing is really something that you need to know. So you can look it up on Bulbapedia or Cerebi how many egg steps you need for that certain egg group or that certain Pokemon that you're hatching. If you really want to worry, if you really want it to be automated, you could set it up for the largest one, but that is going to take the most time, and it's going to take the longest. So I do recommend that you look up the egg cycle and you set it to the right amount of steps. It's set to the lowest one by default, but something that I would do is I would just watch it for the first couple times, and then tweak it up and down if I need to. But I feel like with mass hatching, you need to have the right egg cycle at first. So I would probably write this down. That way you could check Cerebi or Bulbapedia. Single release, I don't think you really need a macro command for a single release. So I think that this one is honestly useless. It just fits in with another setting to add. And then this is good for people who are building those large amount of eggs, and hatching those large amount of eggs is a box release. So the boxes have to be full. You can navigate and have it delete more than one box. This is actually a really useful feature if you're having it bulk hatch eggs. So our bulk breed. So you get a bunch of eggs, you hatch a bunch of eggs, and then you have these boxes full, and there's really not much that you can do with it at that point. So you pull out the Pokemon you want, you make sure that all the boxes are full, and then you use this thing to mass release it. I think this is a really good feature, and yeah, just make sure you follow the instructions. And I do agree with them. Like, I do recommend to hard save before you use this mod, just in case you go anywhere wrong, because I've definitely had times where I hit the wrong bumper and it went a box back instead of a box forward, and it tried to start to delete the wrong box. And I stopped it in time, but if I would have walked away from my Switch at all, it would have definitely stopped working. Or if I would have walked away from my Switch, it would have definitely deleted those Pokemon, and I would have lost them if I didn't notice. And the last feature is the auto cycle. Now, the auto cycle seems like it's exactly like the egg hatching one, but without the process of adding, like swapping out the hatched eggs with eggs that need to be hatched. So once again, I really don't see the need in this. I feel like they just added this to say that they have this feature, when really it's just a lower version of the egg hatching one. I guess if you already have like a full party of eggs, or if you just have one egg, you can do this real quick and it'll keep going until your egg is hatched. But if you're using this, I would say just use the mass farm eggs and match hatch eggs, and you won't have to worry about ever using this auto cycle feature. Maybe depending on how fast it goes, you could start it out with a partner in Let's Go mode, and you can get those steps to evolve things like Palmo and Bramblegast, right? But other than that, like, once again, I just think this is a feature that is added just to say that they have the feature. Now, the Scarlet and Violet features are pretty bare. As we said, it only comes with 5 settings, and 3 of them are only useful. The other 2 are kind of meh. Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl came with about 6 features. On release, they were pretty buggy, but they are fixed now. Pokemon Sword and Shield, when this device first came out for $25, came with 13. So feature-wise, now you are kind of getting your money's worth, but if you're buying it just for Scarlet and Violet, we don't know if they'll add more features in the future, but for the most part, Pokemon has made it harder for people to make these mods. You can't farm dens anymore for league points like you would in Scarlet and Violet because Terra dens move every day. So they're not stuck in one spot like they were in Sword and Shield. The new picnic system makes it impossible to hatch 1 egg at a time to shiny chain like you would in Sword and Shield. And that's the mode that I use the most in Sword and Shield, is just hatching 1 egg at a time. That way I was able to stop it, and I didn't have any excess eggs if I found them on that I needed. This leaves this thing basically useful for mass farming, mass hatching, and full box release. Which I'm not gonna lie though, the full box release is kind of a good feature. But let's take a look of how these actually work in Scarlet and Violet. Okay, so here we are checking out the mass hatching. I have the switch up hooked up via wire with this old Xbox controller of mine. The button inputs really don't bug me as long as I don't look down at the controller. And why did that get so blurry? Let that focus. Okay, so we got Lucario with Justified because I want a Lucario for the Greninja raids coming up. And then let's see the ability. Yeah, Justified. I don't care about the nature, so I just kept the Soothe Belt on it. And we have our Ditto. So we are going to make a sandwich. We'll make our great peanut butter sandwich. And ooh, I don't know if I'm on the right PC box. We'll kill a couple seconds checking that. Drop the bread, yada yada yada. Watch the animation. And real quick, let's make sure we're at the right box. You want to check this? This box is full, so it would have went to the next one. But I have 3 empty boxes set up, so all the eggs are gonna go into the empty boxes. That makes it much easier to hatch them. Okay. So I'll go in front of the basket. Make sure I can interact with it. And I will hit minus and X. It just sent all those eggs away. Maybe that was because I set it up wrong. I want to see, did those eggs actually go to my PC box? Okay, so it looks like they did actually go to my PC box. That's probably why you want it set to automatic. All right, so now I am going to pause the game and see how many eggs I get in the next half hour. Okay, so I let it run for, I don't know, about 40 minutes. Gave my kid bath, had bedtime, and let's see where we ended up with. Probably should have checked the boxes. Okay, so one short of 60, which isn't bad, especially for the fact that like the sandwich ended. So I'm gonna get one more egg, which might take a while, and then I am going to try the egg cycling. Okay, so we have everything set up, and we need to know that Rolly is a 64,000 step egg. So we have to set it up so it's 3 and it's flashing. I won't be able to show you what that looks like, but if you are looking at your switch up, you can tell it pretty easily where the 4 buttons will light up. But yeah, let's set this up. Okay, so I have my Maridon set up. I'm on the lighthouse. I don't know if any lighthouse, if it really matters. I would just follow the directions. We've got, I looked at the buttons and I pressed the wrong one. We got our Colossal set up, and we only have 2 boxes. So I will hit minus. I'll go to this box, select it. So it should do this whole box and hatch them. And we're looking for a shiny. This path seems like it could be a lot more optimized. Maybe I wasn't up against the thing the right way. Let's try to set that up again. It just says position yourself close to the railing. So we'll have to go to the box and put these guys back. We'll do our minus B. And we are on the 3 flashing. And we'll hit A again. And I'll start it again. Once again, we're looking for a shiny, so I'm gonna pause and, well, not pause, but, you know, do a little time lapse. See you in 60 eggs. Yeah, no, that movement can definitely be optimized. I guess it's all the same because you're moving at the same rate. All right, hold up. So I was using Colossal, and did you know that out of the 3 abilities that Colossal gets, only one of them doesn't increase egg hatching rates? Would you like to guess which one that Colossal had? Yeah, so I went back to my Larvestar, the one that I was originally using, and let's see if we can get it to work this time. So we're gonna go to our boxes, hit start an A, and we're gonna start here. And hopefully it goes okay this time. Does the jump. And the little egg hatchy. Alright. And I'll be back hopefully after these 90 eggs hatch. Maybe with a shiny. Okay, so once everything was set up properly, I actually got a flame body Pokemon in there. Everything went fine, everything went smooth. It took about an hour to hatch 3 boxes. So I'll probably won't have that all in here, but let's check out what we got. Let's see if we got anything good, anything worth keeping. Okay, so first one, we got a 5-eyed Veed, Prankster Rolly. So there is that guy right there. We got another 5-eyed Veed with Prankster. Another 5 with Prankster. And I do technically still have one more egg. Let's hatch that. See, I don't know why they don't click the thumbstick with hatching the eggs. Like, going this fast, the sprint mode would at least increase it for those who do have the sprint unlocked. Let's see. Will this one be our lucky shiny? Oh, I should probably turn the game sound back on. Nope. And let's just do a quick scan to make sure none of them weren't shiny. All right, so nope. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put some breed checks in here. Your effect spore, so I don't need you. I think you were the very first one in the chain, so I don't need you. All right, so now let's test out the last one, which is the box release. The other two just seem kind of nonsense. There's a single box release, but I don't feel like that's necessary. So we'll hit the minus button down. We feel the vibration. I'll select these boxes. And I'll stick through and watch this to make sure that it doesn't delete anything on accident. But it seems to work. It is a slow process, but keep in mind that the intention is to use this while you're not standing here watching. So the speed really doesn't matter because, like, hopefully you're doing other things. But we'll talk more about that in just a bit. So, as long as you set it up properly and actually follow the directions and pay attention to your Pokemon's ability, this thing does what it claims to do. Do I think it's worth it? If you are upgrading from the base and you still use Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, or if you think that these features are worth the $20 upgrade, go for it. I don't know, because my favorite feature from Sword and Shield was the shiny chaining, which with the new picnic method, it's impossible. You can't do it, so you have to mass farm eggs and then mass hatch them, which can be a real pain in the butt. I can see if you are a shiny hunting streamer, I can see you using this to gather eggs in bulk, but you still have to be checking in on it every half hour, making sandwiches to get the most out of it. That being said, for the mass hatch feature and the mass release feature, it's probably definitely going to be something that I use once Pokemon Home comes out and I can move all of my egg hatching setup to my Scarlet version and get the shiny charm on that. Do I think this is worth buying now in 2023? Honestly, no. There's only 5 features with no news on whether it's going to add more or be updated again, and I don't think they're going to continue making these, in all honesty. I did make a video on a board, an automation board, which is really interesting and does more than this switch up itself, and it's cheaper to put together with some caveats. So if you are a little tech savvy, you could go down the automation board route, which can cost you at the cheapest about 20 to 30 bucks. So very comparable to the price of the switch up on sale. Now with Scarlet and Violet, you get these features, and as you can see, they are adding more. There are more features in development, and these can all be done with just the controller, which is like this, but without the plastic showmanship. You're gonna get the raw parts and cables, and you can do basically almost just as much as you can with the switch up without the egg hatcher. That's the only thing you're missing compared to this. And like I said, this is in development. The only reason why this is a little more trickier is because one, you have to put it together and run programs to run it and set it up. So there's a little more work into getting it to work versus just plugging this thing in. But this is just without the capture card. If you do have a capture card, and they recommend one that's like 20 bucks, so that brings the cost to about $50. The computer control, you go down to Scarlet and Violet, you get all of these features. And as you can see, they have stuff in development, they have stuff that they're testing. This is awesome. So if you have the capture card, or if you want to get one, a cheap one for like 20 bucks, and you are tech savvy in the least, you can get all these features for Scarlet and Violet. So for 10, 20 bucks more, this is the better option. I haven't used mine since since Sword and Shield. I haven't used in Scarlet and Violet, so I don't know if the program's got a little more easier to use, but they have so much information on this GitHub page that as long as you're willing to take the time to read it, it's a great option. And if not, they do have a Discord where people are willing to help you out, and they talk about a lot of stuff in development. And also, if you are still playing the other games, you can do all this stuff in Scarlet and Violet with the capture card. You can do all this stuff in Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl with the capture card. And you can do all this stuff in Sword and Shield. So this thing is pretty crazy. If you have the know-how or the time to learn it, this is definitely what I recommend in 2023 over getting this thing. So if you want to venture down this route, I definitely think that you should check out the automation board, because it is being continuously supported and it's adding more features, whether you're using it without the computer or if you're using it with the computer. Back to if I think they're going to add more features. Honestly, no. If you go to their website right now, the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl is on sale for 30 bucks. So for 30 bucks, you can get this, and you'll get a code where you can get the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl and Scarlet and Violet update all for one price. If you look on Amazon, those things are still going for $40, but this original version is sold out. The 2.0 that is blue for Sword and Shield is sold out. You might be able to find them on Amazon, but then you would also still have to pay the $20 upgrade for the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl and Scarlet and Violet features. If you do want to get it from Amazon, I do have an Amazon link in the description down below that supports the channel. Check it out. But that's going to be all. Have you used this thing? Has this video inspired you to pick it back up or to pick one up at all? Like I said before, I do think the automation board route is definitely a better pick, but I did want to look at this overall. Are you guys interested in seeing me check out the automation board for Scarlet and Violet with those features? I'll have to get new wires because mine broke, but if you guys are willing to watch, I'm willing to give it a try. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you out. If it did, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you made it this far in the video, I want to say thanks for watching. I should be back to my usual VGC content soon, but I wanted to cover this when I saw that the Scarlet and Violet update came out, and that I technically already paid for it with the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl update. That's going to be all though. Till next time, I'm Zach, and we'll see everyone later.